I thought that was just an orange coat floating in the air with a head and a dog. And on closer inspection I realised she had camo trousers on. A baby bush plane. Hi, this is Mark from Skywagon University, and we've done a series of videos, 200 of them or so, on different types and models and some of the really in-depth geeky details about some of the planes. And this one came in and I thought it'd be interesting. What is it? You look and you ask and you see big tires and a stall kit and a big engine and a constant speed prop, but it's actually a 172 XP, which is given away by this Hawk XP 210 horsepower. So let's look around it, see why it differs from a 172, a standard one, and look at some of the details of what a Hawk XP is. So from here back, that is a 172 in every way. Wings, size, cabin, everything. But from there forward, it's a major difference. And a little bit of history about Hawk XPs, and I'm saying Hawk XP, that's what it is here. And the rest of the world is Hawk XP, well, mostly, for me. They are from 1977 to 1981, so 4 years of production only were Hawk XPs. They fill the gap between the 172 and the 182, because they have constant speed props and 6-cylinder fuel injected Continentals. We'll look at that. And they can be 195 or 210 horsepower. This one's 210. We'll talk about that too and why. So let's look under the hood. It's easily removed. I pre-loosened it. Except for that one screw there that didn't. So the engine. 172s have 4-cylinder like, well, okay, well let's a bit more detail on that. 172s in the beginning, 56 to 67, have little 6-cylinder, 145 horsepower 0300 Continentals with a fixed pitch prop on them. 67 to current day, they're all Lycoming powered, and they varied in horsepower from 145 for the Continentals, 150, 160, and then the current generation of 172s is 180 horse. This is 195 horse or 210 horse, and the engine is a Continental IO360K or KB. So details. Some of you want the real details. 77s, this is a 77, have the IO360K and 195 horsepower. The Continental IO360 is capable of 210 horsepower, and in a lot of other applications like Mooney 231, Senecas, Turbo Arrows, they're 200 plus horsepower. So why is this 195 horse? Well, by being under 200 horsepower, it is not high performance, so flight schools would buy it. So they governed it to 2600 RPM for takeoff on the constant speed prop to make it be only 195 horsepower so that a flight school could still have it on their training program back when they were new. But this is a K, no, 77 172 XPs have IO360Ks in them, and those have 1500 hour TBOs. The KB, which is the heavier case version of the IO360, has a 2000 hour TBO, and it's a heavier case, and it's just generally better. It's what's in the Senecas. So this engine has a STC on it called the Isham conversion, and the Isham STC allows it to go back to its originally intended 210 horsepower simply by letting the propeller spin not 2600 RPM but 28 for takeoff. So at 2800 she's 210 horsepower, and then in cruise obviously you pull the RPM back from 28 to 26 to 24, and even below that, where they're all going to be 150, 160 horsepower. So it's only 210 horsepower for takeoff in the Isham STC Hawk XP. And I remember a 172 fixed pitch plane is like 150, 160, 180, and it's fixed pitch. And the 182, big brother of this, is 230 horsepower. So this is only 20 horsepower less than a 182, and it's fuel injected. So it's a big deal to have an IO360 KB in a Hawk XP. And you can see, if you just take the cowling off and look at it, an IO360, you see the individual valve covers. So you got inlet, exhaust, inlet, exhaust, inlet, exhaust. Whereas on a Lycoming or some of the bigger Continentals, you have one valve cover covering inlet and exhaust. So this has 12 gaskets instead of 6. And also the other thing is, it's a cross-flow engine, which means the induction is on top. So the air comes in through the air filter, up the back, through the flow divider, and then comes around and goes into the top of all the cylinders, through it, obviously in, out, burn it, and then down the exhaust pipe and out. And so underneath, instead of having an exhaust pipe and an exhaust pipe and induction all the way across, tight and crowded under there, it's got all its intakes on the top and all its exhausts on the bottom. So better for heat, better for access, better for maintenance, better for cracking. So these engines are given a hard time in certain applications, like the TSIO 360 GB and the Mooney 231 in 1977, 78, 79. That was not a good engine. That would take 12 cylinders to get to TBO. And it was turbocharged to boot. So that evolved into the LB1 and on into the NBs and into the newer IO360s, like Continentals, and became much more reliable. But the bad rap of the other engines hang with all of them. But actually, if you choose the correct one, it's a good engine. And I keep saying IO360. Injected, I, opposed, O, 360 cubic inches. So Lycoming make an IO360. It's a 4-cylinder, 360 cubic inch engine. And this is a 6-cylinder, injected, Continental engine that can be 195 or 210 horsepower. So these are good engines. The KBs are good engines. It isn't turbocharged, and it's a constant speed prop, and it's very reliable, and it has a 2,000 hour TBO as well. So that's the main thing of a Hawk XP, is the front end of them, is the IO360. So Hawk XPs have cowl flaps. You can see it down there at the bottom of the engine, and just to its right is where the nose wheel attaches to the firewall. It is not part of the engine mount. So if you were to damage it, you don't damage the engine mount. In a conventional 172, you do. So this is more like on a 182, it's much stronger. Very large oil cooler here, very big. I mean, it goes like, it's about 10 inches long underneath. So the air comes in over the top of the engine past the induction, which cools the induction too, which is nice. And then down through here and then out the cowl flap. So the airflow is forced through the oil cooler, and then the controlling of the cowl flap controls the cooling of the air escaping from under the engine. So it's a really good design. Conventionally, there's 2 magnetos back there. You got the fuel strainer, tester, oil filler neck right there, and next to it the dipstick, which is accessed from the top of the cowling. And then you can see the overhead induction, and that is the throttle position sensor right there. And then obviously underneath it is the exhaust and everything. It's very spacious and easy to work on and roomy under the cowling. It's big. And the firewall, even though this is identical to a 172, this sticks out further forward and is a bigger cowling. And if you wanted to identify one from a distance and see that it's a Hawk XP, it's more of a square looking cowling, whereas the 172 is a bit more shorter like that. And obviously constant speed prop on a Hawk XP. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention is 77 Hawk XPs are 12 volts. 78, 79, 80, 81s are 24 volt. So this Cessna went to 24 volt in a lot of planes in 78. So this is a 77. So it's a 12 volt, which would have been a K engine, but it's got a KB in it. So the 1224 doesn't really matter, but the KB is a big deal in it. All the later ones had KBs with heavy cases. And also, this plane was built under license in France by Reims. So you might see a Reims rocket, and any people watching from Europe will see, they'll know a Reims rocket is a French-built Hawk XP that could be bought in Europe, and some of them are here, and they have factory zinc chromate corrosion proofing through their entire airframes as well, because they were built in France. There's a lot to them, and there's not many of them around. They're interesting planes. So let's look at more things. So the front end of a Hawk XP is the main difference between it and a 172, although there are airframe differences we're going to look at. But obviously a constant speed propeller, so variable pitch propeller. So it takes off at 2800, you throttle it back, you wind the RPM back to 2400 for cruise. It burns about 10-11 gallons an hour. Surprisingly economical because it is a 360, so it's not huge gas sucking Continental, but it's pretty economical. They do about 125 knots, but constant speed makes you have 2800 on the ground for takeoff in any situation. So you could be in Colorado in August, you could be at coast and sea level down in Florida. You're always going to have 2800 RPM. You're not going to be restricted to altitude and temperature because the engine's got a constant speed prop. That's a major deal on these. They have 2 landing lights. Some 172s do, but Hawk XPs always do. This exhaust looks weird sticking out forward into the airflow like that, and I've been told, but I haven't got any evidence of it, and if you know better and you can tell me, comment in below, but the exhaust sticks forward so that the airflow of the plane goes up the exhaust pipe, which doesn't actually happen because exhaust is belching out of the exhaust pipe, but it's back pressure. So the airflow going into that big wide short stack creates a little bit of back pressure to do something with the induction and the engine and the way it runs, and it's dangled like that on purpose. The other thing is down here, not standard, is this large nose wheel fork. It's an air glass fork or air glass, or there's another name for them too, forgotten it. Bigger. This is a 600. It could take a 7, and it could take an 8. There are 850s on the mains. So bigger tires, you could have 3 850s on it with this, a Landis, it used to be, that's what it is, a Landis nose fork, or an air glass now nose fork. It can handle a much bigger tire. So this is on all 3 much bigger tires. So it's got heavier gear on all 3. It's still got single pack brakes. So it's taller and it's got more horsepower. So it's kind of trying to be more of a mini bush plane than a trainer would be. So you could literally take this to the backcountry of Idaho and have some fun camping out of it for, you know, all the benefits of owning a 172. Airframe, let's have a look. So the wing, identical to a 172. In fact, a 182, a 180, a 185, many Cessnas, same wing. On the leading edge of the wing, there's a Sportsman stole kit. It's STOL, S-T-O-L, short takeoff and landing. It's a cuff that goes on the leading edge that lets the plane take off and land slower and has more controllability at low airspeeds with high nose attitudes. It climbs steeper, it's got more aileron control. They cost about $4,000 and it's on this plane. It gives you 2 inches, my finger right now is on the old leading edge in the air vent, so the Sportsman is out here, so 2 inches times 36 feet gives you 2 more square feet per wing. So getting really geeky, Hawk XPs are all post-73 Cessnas, and if you've been watching the other videos we've got on here, 73 Cessna put the camber cuff wing on the Cessnas, except the 207 and the 152 and 150. So this 172s and XPs and 206s and 182s all got the camber cuff wing, which is a Robertson profile on the leading edge of the wing from the factory. And you can see it's not a symmetrical chord. It's not symmetrical. It's got a little bit more of a kind of stole cuff to it. So you think, why would you put a stole kit on a post-73 wing if it's already got a partial leading edge stole kit from the factory? Well, the Sportsman is pronounced enough and beneficial enough to add it to a post-73 wing and get a gain from it. So this, if you hung this on the prop at high RPM with full flaps and pulled back, you could indicate 0 airspeed on the airspeed indicator because the pitot tube would be at such a steep angle, the airflow wouldn't be able to go into it to register an airspeed. So that it delays the stall. It's an excellent stall kit, and it doesn't slow the plane down in cruise at the other end. There's no drooping ailerons, there's no fence on the top, there's no VGs, it's just the cuff. It's an excellent thing to add to a post-73 wing, and this plane has it. Other than that, flaps and ailerons, wing square footage, everything about it is the same as on a 172 or 182 or 180 or 185, with minor differences we won't get into in this video. Around the other side, there's something else interesting. Let's have a look at it. So, top of the wing, same as everything on the planes we just talked about, but XPs have 50 gallons, and standard 172s have 39 gallons. And some standard 172s, because this wing was being made at the factory, you could order a standard 172 with 50 gallons. It's very rare, but some of them have it. And the way to tell at a glance is if you look at the top of the wing, these aren't bladdered. They have a panel on top of the wing up there that's held down by screws. If you take off all those screws and lift off that panel, you're looking at a metal fuel tank with 2 straps over it. If you undo the 2 straps, you can lift out the tank. So there's no rubber bag in there like in a 182 or a 206. That kink is what tells you that it's a 50-gallon tank. If it went straight forward there, it would be the 39-gallon tank of the standard 172. But all Hawk XPs have 50 gallons because they burn a bit more fuel. A standard 172 burns, 6 to 8 gallons an hour. These burn 10 to 11 gallons an hour, so you've got a bit more gas, so you're not restricted on range. But it's a big plus to have a 50-gallon tank. So from here back, if I didn't know what was up front, there is nothing back here to tell me this isn't a normal 172, because it's literally is the same plane. And look at this, those bigger tires, 850s. Have you ever walked under a 172 and not had to crouch down? I mean, I just barely have to dip my head. That's lifted the plane. And then while we're looking at the flap, it's got the trailing edge bead in it. That's a 140 knot flap. If it doesn't have the bead in it, it's a 90 knot flap. So the later planes all had that. All Hawk XPs had that. Back here, very boring, very 172, all conventional. This isn't de-ice. This is just a rubber abrasion boot to stop rocks being thrown up by the tire, denting the leading edge of the horizontal stabilizer. Normal elevator, normal tail, normal rudder, everything back here 172. So let's look up front inside it and see what the differences are in there. So inside it, very similar to 172 in every way. Same width, same height, same control, same everything. A couple of differences are though, rudder trim is in all Hawk XPs, not in all 172s. 3 controls, of course, because it's constant speed. So you've got throttle, prop, mixture. But that's not obviously in a standard 172 because they have a fixed pitch prop. But other than that, this is a 77. So if you were looking in a 77 172, apart from that, it would look just like this. So if you're used to flying a 172, this is the step up from it. The gear is still fixed, but the constant speed prop would make it more high performance and 20 knots faster. Little things like articulating seats, stuff that's in it, right hand window, those were things that Hawk XPs had as well. But very, very similar to a 172 in every way because it really is one. Testing. Test. Good. So we're taxiing it up from where we photographed the planes, and I just started it back there. And the only thing different between this and a carbureted 172 is you got an electric fuel pump. So when cold, you just prime it till you see a fuel flow reading, shut off the pump, crank it till it starts. You do not use the pump in flight because there is a mechanical fuel pump that works on it just like any other engine. But in an emergency, if it quit, you would turn on the high boost. But look at that, very, very normal 172. I've got manifold pressure and RPM here, and I've got manifold pressure, RPM and fuel flow here. The manifold pressure is not in a regular, normal 172 because it doesn't need it. Well, you don't need to see it. It does have manifold pressure, you just don't need to be recording it. I'll tell you one thing about these IO360s. They get a bad rap, and as we talked about, not all of them are bad. They are very smooth. Very, very smooth, because it's 6 cylinders and it's counterweighted. Whereas the Lycomings are 4 cylinders and not counterweighted. That's why they have that resonation range. You have to avoid certain manifold pressures and RPMs when landing, Lycoming. These Continentals are incredibly smooth running engines. A Skymaster has 2 of them. Okay, we'll do a run up and we'll just take it around the patch. Controls, instruments, gas, altitude, run up. And cycle the prop, of course. When it's cold, I do too. So we've got good oil pressure, oil temperatures coming up, cylinder head temperatures coming up. Okay, let's do it. Placerville, Skyhawk 65 Echo Bravo, departing runway 23, a local flight, Placerville. I can immediately feel more power than a normal 172, and here we are at 2750, 2800 RPM, and the Sportsman stall kit's letting it fly at like 45. Look at it climbing out. This isn't the grand cars, 172. Flaps up. We've got a bit of fog and weather coming in, so we just squeeze this flight in before it goes IFR. And then, of course, being high performance, we just pull back on the RPM, pull back on the manifold pressure. So I'm winding the RPM back now to 2400. There we are. So now it's like 210 horsepower for takeoff, now it's down to like 170, 180 horsepower. And even at this low cruise power setting, because I'm on downwind about to land, there's 1,000 feet a minute on the VSI. They're great, great planes. A mini bush plane. If you're not commercially operating a heavy duty 206 or something, you don't need the capacity, you could use a plane like this. Look at the Sierras. Covered in snow. We've had a lot of rain. That falls of snow up there and rain here. Placerville, 65 Echo Bravos on left base for 23 at Placerville, full stop. I'll try and land it. I mean, it's someone else's plane. I'm not going to go and super stall it, but I'm going to land it very slowly. Once I get it over the runway, I'll hold it off and just see how slowly she will land with the stall kit. We're in the flap arc. We're doing 70. I don't have a carburetor, so there's no carb ice. Placerville, 65 Echo Bravo, final, 23, full stop, Placerville. Full flaps, prop in. Doing 65. I just slipped out ahead of that fog bank right in time. So we're on final, set up and trimmed for 65, very comfortable. When I get it low over the runway, I'm going to just hold it off, and bring up the nose to see what she'll actually land at. Remember, this wing is also on a Cessna 185. So it's a very capable wing. And the other one. Okay, the runway's made. There is no wind. I'm just going to pull back, see what it wants. Touchdown at 42. and all the benefits of a nose wheel and a 172 and the familiarity and the basicness of that all put together into something that's actually very capable. I feel a bit of vibrating going on, but that is just these big tires. Glassville, 5 Echo Bravo, 023, full stop. How smooth that is. Lean in a little bit. So in conclusion, much more than a 172 and much less than a 182. It's the perfect gap filler between the two, but they only made them for 4 years. So if you're looking for one, it's a very specific requirement. It's a bush plane. Got to put a foot on the tire. So we've flown it, we've looked around it, we've seen what the differences are between 172s and Hawk XPs. 4 years of production. There's not a lot of them out there, so if you're looking for one, you know, there's a lot less choice than on a standard 172. So thanks for watching it. We do a series of these videos. There's a lot of them on the site at Skywagon University. There's 200 videos or so, all different types and planes and models. And we have that channel. We also have Plane Crazy Life, and Plane Crazy Life is a sort of more fun adventure channel. It's going to places in planes, doing things, going to Alaska in the summer. I've been to Florida, we've been to Reno air races, things like that. So if you like them, watch them and subscribe on the little link down here, and comment. Feel free to comment and press the like button and share with friends if you would. We need to get the numbers up on both of the channels. It would be great. So thanks very much for watching.